Hello everyone. Just getting everything set up, seeing how my light is today. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, but I might make you a little seasick there because I think I went a bit too far. Awesome. Just going back a little bit. Hello, Kim. It's always a bit of a ride to make sure I've got everything in the screen how we want it. The light seems okay. I changed where I put my light, my extra light. So as long as I don't blind myself in the eyeballs, I think I've got a decent amount of light. It might drive me a bit crazy. I gotta figure out. I'm a little crooked, so I gotta figure out why that is. Oh, other way. Not that I can control that exactly, but that looks pretty good. Awesome. And just as we're getting started here and people are coming on, I will say I'm trying a couple different things in hopes that it might help the quality. I have a fairly new phone, but I find that when I've been uploading the videos to the Krafty Kimmy YouTube, I just find that the quality isn't as great. So I tried a couple different settings on my phone, and then I'll make sure I look at those settings when I upload to YouTube as well. But the lighting looks good here. It looks good on my computer screen. And I think we'll be good to go. So welcome everybody to our demo. I'm awesome. It's awesome to be joining you here tonight. I will say as of Monday, I was like crossing my fingers and toes that everything would be good for today's live. I caught a cold over the weekend and it was fine. My nose is pretty good, but I half like lost my voice and then of course was teaching all day, but it is much better. So I do have a couple cough drops and some drinks, so hopefully my throat will hold up, and if I have to just step away from the camera for a minute to cough or something, I will try to do that, but I think we are good. Yeah, hi Michelle, exactly Kim, and it's wild because I went through this swath of time, of course not at school, for those of you who know what's been happening in Alberta. Why? What happened? And I got back to school for 2.5 days, and then 2.5 days later, or 2 days later on the weekend, first cold of the year. So I'm like, well, I guess it's that season. So luckily it didn't seem to last too long, and I'm definitely on the other side of it now. So life is good and we're excited. I'm excited to be crafting, and we're excited to be crafting tonight. So awesome. Hello everyone. Hola. It's going to be awesome to craft tonight. So I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to try not to say 5 million times. So for those of you who kind of have been following me for a while and I'm kind of getting my groove, I definitely have realized that I do better with a demo style. So I did kind of prep a lot of things tonight, but we're going to do some color along. I'm going to share what stamps we're using. We're going to do a little bit of a twist. So for a lot of you who maybe are jumping on, you might not be necessarily puttering on this exact project in your craft room, but I think I've made it pretty easy to replicate if it's something you want to try later. And I'll just walk you through all the steps, some measurements, we'll do some coloring together, and we'll build the finished card. So we are going to build a mini Slimline card today. Hey, Bronwyn. And we are going to be using the stamp set Mermaid Friends, which has been out for a little while, and I love it. I just love the whimsical nature. Actually, I think it was kind of better over here because it didn't have so much light, so I'll just slide it over. So this set has two cute mermaids and some great sayings. The little turtle, the dolphin, and the sayings say, we mermaid to be friends, roll with the waves, hope your day is a splash, fishy kisses, and high fin. And I decided a while back that we are going to put a holiday twist on to this set, because for a lot of you that do know me, not only am I better with the demo style, I love me a good mashup. So I love doing things that maybe are a little bit unexpected. It's heading into Christmas season. We're trying to maybe get cracking on those Christmas cards that we're behind in. Maybe even getting ahead for next year. Who knows how prepared and on the ball folks are. So I thought, what better way is, other than to create like a holiday card using what I would normally say is more of a summary set. So we are going to do that today. So what I have done, I'll just quickly walk you through some supplies. So if you want to recreate, you're going to know what you need. So I am using the image today with the dolphin. So the mermaid with the dolphin, but you could use either one, and you could also use something else from your stash. And oh, hey, Karen, nice to see you. Lots of fun faces on right now, which is great. And then I have a card base. Now, I suppose there's probably differing views on the mini Slimline. So the mini Slimline, from what I've done and what I can tell, is using a 6x6 piece of cardstock. And so I cut the 6x6 piece of cardstock already, and I did pre-score just to make life simple tonight, but I just scored it literally at 3 inches. So when we do fold this up, you will be left with a 3x6 card. So we'll have our stamp set, we have our base that we'll score. Then I have 3 different prints, and I have also used a die cut, but you could definitely just do rectangles, and I'll give you a couple like other options as well. So one of the pattern prints is going to end up being put on the front of our card. And so for that, if it's something that you want to play along with tonight, you can find a print or do later. And that panel I cut almost to the same size as the front of the card. And so since the card would be 3x6, I actually just cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller, both widthwise and lengthwise. So it ends up as 2 7/8 by 5 7/8. So when we finish everything up and glue it on, we will be left with just a 1/16 border, and even I guess a little bit less because it'd be 16th total. If I did that right. No, 16th because it's an 8th total. It's late. I've had a long day at school. Math is not mathing. A bunch of us in another group yesterday were talking about math, and that was fun. And so that is the first piece. And then I also have 2 other prints that I did cut with a die cut. I had these scalloped dies from Honeybee. But you could also just do them as rectangles. So they're about 2.5 by 4.5, and then 2 by 4. So you end up with 2 7/8 by 5 7/8, and then about 2.5 by 4.5, and then a 2 by 4. Okay. Now for this one, because I'm mixing a Christmas holiday card with the summary set, I picked 2 prints from a Christmas collection I have called Victorian Christmas by Simply Stated Design. And then I also found a beachy piece of paper I had. Actually just happens to also be by Simply Stated, but there's a bit of the sand and the water. So I've blended again 2 collections so that I've got that holiday mix, but still seem to be bringing in the beachy vibes. Okay. So if you didn't want to use the nesting dies or didn't have anything, you could easily just cut them as rectangles. Even though you're building a rectangular card, another easy quick twist that you could do would be to just round the corners of all the corners on your panels. Another cute twist, just to change it up, is to just round like 2 corners, either just the top, just the bottom, or opposites. So you end up with a straight corner, rounded, straight corner, rounded, and you could do the same on all. So that's a fun way when you're just cutting paper to do something a little bit different. So I just wanted to give some options there. And then the other thing that I just want to talk about when we go to build it, but just so that you kind of know why I have these extras, is of the panels that I cut to go on top, I die cut some extra panels. And in fact, I did 3. And I already glued one on the back, but we're going to glue and stack these to build up some depth without using foam dots, because I find it just gives a bit more structure. Oh, thanks for the nails. Yeah, they were my Halloween-y kind of style nails with the bright orange, so it's kind of fun. I love having fun, fresh nails when I remember to actually do something with them. And then this panel, I also did 1 extra, and I already glued it on. So when you're looking just for a little more durability, remembering to just cut extra die cuts or cut extra pieces of paper and stack them. Using fun foam can also work for that. Or I know some people do die cut foam sheets. You can use the foam sheets like the foam squares, but that come in big panels. So just all kinds of variety. But I know sometimes when we use the foam dots and then you go to press down, it makes it really like squishy and uneven. And then sometimes when we mail those, we don't know what they're going to end up looking like when they come out the other end. So using just more of a structured panel built up, I find just brings durability when you're mailing. So those are the pieces that we are going to need, and we'll build it all at the very end. So I'm just going to set those aside. And then the other thing that I did when I stamped, I just used the Krafty Kimmy Wicked Black ink. And I'm going to use alcohol markers tonight to color mine. And I'm keeping it pretty simple. So I took the colors of the paper I was using and kind of tried to match things up. So I'm going to use kind of like a greenish shades to do the bikini top. I'm going to use more of like a burgundy reddish color for her tail, gray for the dolphin, kind of a golden yellow for the starfish. I'm going to keep her skin a little more like sun tanned color. And then I've got kind of like a brownish auburny kind of color for the hair. And then I have stamped the fishy kisses. So I'm not sure if it will really show up on the screen because I didn't get them lined up. But if you have this set or want to order it because it's on sale, so you can find it on sale in the shop, it actually has an exclamation mark at the end. So when I stamped it, I just used a piece of, like, this is the Spellbinders tape, and I just covered the exclamation mark. I inked, then I peeled away this piece and stamped it on my paper. We're actually going to end up fussy cutting this, but then when I stamped it, I didn't have the exclamation mark. And the reason for that is that because we're making a holiday card, I had this other sentiment we're going to use, and we're going to end up layering fishy kisses, happy holiday wishes. So a nice little fun rhyme and a way to bring the two items, the stamp set and the holiday vibes together. So that's just another little demo tip that is great when you're looking to change up or use your sentiments in a little bit of a different way or mix it with different things. You can, of course, block off things. And it's a tip a lot of us know, but sometimes we forget about or don't always think about when it comes to punctuation. So that is kind of where we are for that. So that being said, if there are any questions about measurements or stamping, let me know. Otherwise, I think we'll kind of get into some coloring so we can build our card. I'm just going to sit down while we color. I always forget to do that when I'm doing lives. And I end up standing and then wondering why my feet get tired. Oh, I hear you, Deb. I have totally done that. In fact, I almost did that with this one. I was like flipping my Misty cover, and just as I was about to lay it down on my paper, I realized I left the tape on, and yes, I had ink on it. Luckily, it didn't fall off because I'd already stamped my mermaid. So I would have been a little like cross with myself if I'd gotten ink somewhere I didn't want to. But yeah, so that's kind of how we roll, right? I'm just gonna take a drink before we start. Everybody can still hear me fine, I'm assuming. And I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try to zoom in a little bit more with the coloring. Let's see what it looks like. I don't want the quality to go, but let's see here. Zoom that in a little bit more. How's that, everybody? Is that okay? Hi, Rebecca. We're just about to get started on a little bit of coloring to build a slimline card, so glad you could pop in. Okay, so for the coloring, there's not really a rhyme or reason to how I color, and now we've done enough of these lives together to know that I never go for where the exact light and all that good stuff is. I just like to get some blends of dark to light. So I'm going to start with, this one is actually the tan shades of my Spectrum Noir, but it's sort of just the dark, like a darker brown. So I'm going to come in and just do along her hairline and come down just a little bit. With the dark. And then I'll come in with the medium and overlap that area to get a blend. And I find with this color, you don't notice like necessarily a huge difference until you add the light. So then I'm gonna come here, down the side, and then I'm gonna take the lightest color, and just to get that bit of a lighter feature, I'm gonna go back up over the whole area, go along the edge, and then kind of one layer over that. Oh my gosh, as I go over her face a little bit, go a little bit more carefully. And then I'm just gonna go, actually, I think I'm gonna use just the medium, and I'm just gonna go back just kind of around the edges. A little bit, just to get a little bit more, some definition. And it always looks better when it dries. So leave it like that. Okay, I feel like I missed a little piece by her ear here. There we go. Oh, remind me where you are, Michelle. You're having your first good snowfall. I am dreading when we are gonna get our first snowfall. Like, I am not a winter person, that is for sure. Okay, I think just to let some of that alcohol area dry before I go back and do the starfish, because I did bleed in a little bit. I'm going to go down and do her bikini top. So I'm just going to do a little touch there and a tiny touch along the tassels. And then extend the medium down. And then the lightest. It's kind of hard on the screen to fully see always the difference of the definitions, but of the colors. But I find too, like I said, you have to wait till it dries a little bit. Oh yeah, Alaska, okay. Done a small snow. Oh yeah, so the little bit is coming your way then, I guess, eh? So there is just, not sure if you can see that okay. So I've kept it a pretty darker jade type green, again, just to go with the color scheme of the holiday. And now I'm gonna go back up and just dab a little bit of the darker gold. It's almost like a brown. And then the medium one is the one I want the most. And I thought this like brings in the nice little like, not only starfish look, but then of course the holiday gold. So bring in that light one. And we're gonna add a little bit of sparkle to this after too, so it'll bring out some of those colors. Oh, okay. Barrow, Alaska. I have to look on a map of like the communities. I'm not as good geographically to know like north, east, south, west of like geographically where things are. But Kim, that's really cool that one of the Krafty artists lives in Alaska. That's great. Okay. So I think I'm gonna do our little dolphin next. So I'm just gonna go with the darkest, kind of along the top, underneath the mouth, a couple spots on the fin. I don't know, I feel like, did I start with the lay end? I don't know. It's been that kind of day, folks. Maybe I did. Just gonna go over this again. Usually the itty bitties are like the coloring I'm decent at, but sometimes, you know. You Googled it? That's awesome. Story of my life. What did we do before Google? Because we never did in my household own an actual full set of encyclopedias, so I'm not sure what I did. We did own atlases though, so I guess I would have probably looked it up in the atlas. I am thankful I'm from the generation that still, you know, had maps, because I really did learn to use a map well on a bunch of the road trips I used to take with my dad. So I do just always like to go back over a couple of the spots with those darker bits, because then it really will help the shading once it dries. Yeah, I probably did look up a lot of things at school, asked a lot of random questions. when I was younger. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna do her skin next. Just kind of seem to be working from top to bottom here. So I've picked, these ones I actually have my Copic, so I hope in this little space I don't bleed too far. But I've picked E35 and E13. I kind of liked how it blended out when I tested it. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. She can come give me some lessons. I'm still fighting with my Copics a little bit. I definitely like my Spectrum New R. I actually just bought on sale a set of the Oahu markers. Just more to like have an expansive set or have something to try. Like when I'm just doing the crafty things, right? We're not looking to be the next greatest artist. And maybe I could even take them to school, I'm not sure. Oh, I'm learning all sorts of things about everybody's like talents and where people live. And Kim used to work in the library. That's awesome. So I just did the darkest color kind of along like a little bit down on the neck, a little on the ear. I'm not doing too much because I didn't want it to blend too much with her hair. So I just did a little bit at the top and then along her back. And then I'm just gonna come in because I'm not as good with the brush and just dab on those spots. And then give one layer. My biggest thing is sometimes I go over an area too much, so I try to remember to leave some of those areas where you're just gonna give one coat and then like literally try to leave it with one layer. So dab over the spots where you want the blend and then one layer. The other thing is always to remember to turn. I always tell my kids at school that. Turn your art so that you can see it in the direction that makes the most sense for you. And then I forget to follow my own advice. Oh, that actually looks really cool. I'll hold it up here in just a second. I'm just going to go and give just a small wash again along those sun-kissed areas. There we go. I think that looks pretty cute, especially when it dries. So I think you can see it pretty good, but I'll just try and hold it up to the camera a little bit more. Hopefully it stays in focus. So there you go. It's got that nice suntan glow. It's been hanging out in some rocks in the salty ocean. Okay, and then of my Spectrum Noir set, I'm using the dark red shade. So I did try it first on another piece of scrap paper to bring in some of the dark red blend, but I found that I didn't like how it matched the paper. It got too red. So while it was Christmassy and did look good with the green, it clashed a bit more with the paper. So we're gonna keep it a little bit more burgundy. And I decided that I'm gonna use the darkest more with the tail. So I'm gonna try to use like, or I don't know, the whole tail, what the fins? Do mermaids, I guess they have fins. Fluke? I feel like if Bronwyn's still here, I feel like she's the most mermaidish person. She might know this answer. If it's the fin or the fluke that I'd be coloring darker. Oh, thanks, Kim. Definitely like that whimsical style. So when you have amazing stamps like this, it's totally my vibe because it doesn't have to be realistic. So I thought I wanted this part the darkest, and then I'm going to use mostly the two lightest colors for the upper part of the tail. So now I'm just going to go back over these areas again, and then just bringing it down a little bit more further into the tips. Try and go slow so I don't go off. I'll show you a little bit, like if you go out of the lines. I think I've showed it before, but I mean, I didn't make it up. I got the idea from Jen Shirkus, but we'll use the white gel pen if we need to touch up any of the spots that we go out. And then I'm just gonna come out. Yeah, I feel like fins. I feel like I would say fins too. I feel like I should know more about mermaids. Like I love creatures like mermaids and unicorns and dragons and Bigfoot, but apparently I don't know very much about the anatomy of a mermaid. Or a merman. I do have a set of stamps that have a merman, so that's kind of fun. Okay. Again, I went over it, and you can see I've left that little bit. So now I'm going to try really hard to just go over that section with one layer so that those are the lightest. And then I'm just going to go back with my dark and just do one layer right along the edge. So even as I see it dry, it is coming. And I'll try to, like in the light tomorrow afternoon when I get home from school, I will make sure I take a picture of it. I know, that's the one, right? The merman. I think that, is that in like the one with the little, like you could have got the little underwater sandcastle that matched it and stuff, Kim? You have to refresh my memory of like what the name of that said. Be a mermaid. That's awesome. I just do love underwater creatures. Like a Loch Ness, like there's something so mystical and magical about things that might be under the sea. Like Atlantis. I always like wanted them to really truly discover, you know, some hidden kingdom, you know, and you watch and they think they've discovered Atlantis. And you get all excited. Don't know if any of you guys watch Josh Gates' Expedition Unknown, but he's always like doing cool adventures like that. So now when I do this part of her tail, I'm just going to use the mid and the light. So hopefully I get a bit of contrast from the dark. So I'm just going to go along the top here. Again, I feel like there would be a bit of shadow here. Oh, I'm just going to cough for a second. Sorry, guys. Hey, I did pretty good to last that long. Oh, cute. Okay, I feel like I do have that one, but I gotta look that up, Kim, myself, because if not, maybe I need to get that one. So guys, check out also, it's called, so check out Be a Mermaid. So this one is Mermaid Friends. Check out Be a Mermaid as well. Okay. I'm not very good sometimes, Kim, with remembering the names. I always have to write things down ahead of time because I get sets mixed up in my brain because I mix them up so many times. So I always know which ones I'm using, but then when I have to recall the ones I used, you know, 4 weeks ago, I'm like, nope, gone out of my brain. Okay, so now I'm going to take my lightest. And I'm just going to color in along some of these spots just for some shading. just going to do one layer and we're going to see what she looks like here. Actually, I think that is going to turn out pretty cool. Just going to now go back with that medium, just very lightly along that section. And I think just along that bottom section again. I think I'm going to go all the way down on that bottom. And there we go. So I think that is pretty cool. So it did definitely almost has like a fuchsia, like a, I don't know, like a fuchsia poinsettia-y purpley red tone, which I think is going to end up actually looking really cool on our card, especially when we add a little glitter. All right. Oh, Deb, look at you. Were you doing some research for us? Fin is a more inclusive term. Flukes are the tail fins of whales and dolphins. So I think we could safely use either since mermaids are mammals. Well, there we go. I like it. It's flukes. I'm just feeling like, I feel like fin fits, but I feel like actually too, I don't know, just saying that, I feel like Finn, like F-I-N-N, I feel like she feels like a fin. It just came to me. I think we tried naming things the last time I created, so it must be a thing that I got going on. All right, I'm gonna fussy cut our mermaid. So I'm just gonna do a quick cut really close. And then this one here, the sentiment, I'm just gonna cut around kind of wibbly wobbly, kind of imagining that I had a die that matched, like, so when they kind of go into the spaces a little bit and around some of the letters is kind of what I'm imagining. Just sometimes just give a little extra little wibble wobble and then it just looks purposeful. So that's what I did for Fishy Kisses. Just hold that up for you. And I'm gonna set that aside kind of underneath my little glue so that it doesn't fall on the floor and I don't lose it, because that's about what would happen. Thanks for Googling, Deb. We appreciate it. Okay, so I like to leave a white border. Who here is team border? And are there any team no border where you like to cut right on the line? Let's do a poll. Are we team white border or team no border? Oh, we've got a couple team borders. So we know I'm team border, Kim's team border, Michelle is team border. Do we have any no border takers? I don't know if in the last while, like I don't think I could tell you when the last time is that I actually cut anything out right on the line. Like, it's probably been 5 years or more since I've cut something out where I have not left a white border. Oh, Deb, see, Deb, that is my thing too. I find leaving a border for me is more forgiving. Like, if it's a, you know, you have that little bit of wiggle room with the scissors. Whereas if it's right on the border and you make one little slip weird, it's like, then I'm mad at myself. Melanie, okay, yeah, she does cut a lot straight out. You're right, Kim. It always looks amazing. Like people who do those, I always see it and go, oh, I should do that more often. And then old habits die hard. This is always the part that like takes the longest. I always think I'm gonna fussy cut it ahead, so you guys don't have to watch me fussy cut, but it's always good for little tips. So remembering to turn the stamp and not your scissors, or just little tips for getting into, you know, the harder to reach places, or having fun discussions like this. It's always good. So I've got like, I'm not going to worry about cutting inside the parts. I know there are people who pull out the X-Acto knives, and if we had a die, right, like it would cut out like a teensy triangle. I never worry. I just leave that white. But when I do have these little spaces here, I gotta tip it, sorry. The kind of where the dolphin fin and their arms go, then what I will do is I will cut in usually from both directions. So I'll cut in from underneath here. And if I feel like I can't make the turn, which this one, oh, sorry, I totally went off screen. That was my bad. That's the problem. I usually bring it super close to my eyes so that I can see what I'm doing and not mess up, instead of keeping it on camera. So I was able to make the turn, but if it is tricky, I'll come in on one side and then come in from the other side and then just pop the piece out. Okay, so there is our mermaid, and I am going to call her Finn. I like that you kind of agreed with that, Kim. Okay, so there's our coloring, and I'm just going to take my white gel pen, and there was just a couple spots, like I kind of just went a little bit out of the lines with the red down there, down on the ends of the fin. So if you just use your gel pen, you can just kind of touch that up. And there was a couple just spots of the dolphin where the gray went out of the line a little bit. So again, just dab the white gel pen, and I think maybe just a little bit down on her hair. I went out, so I'll just do the white gel pen there. And unless you look really, really close, then you don't even notice that you've done the white gel pen. Okay. So we've fussy cut. We have our pieces. So let's do just a teeny bit of glittering, and then we will build our slimline. And we're doing really good on time. So I kind of made up my goal. I wanted to try to be about an hour. So agree with Finn that Finn is a good name. I said you had commented that you felt like she kind of looked like a Finn. So I'm going to call her Finn, F-I-N-N. Okay, so I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn Prisma glitter to do a little bit of glittering, and one of the quickie glue pens. Everybody's still good with me zoomed in? I think the quality's still okay. So I think I'm gonna keep it zoomed in. So I'm gonna start by adding just a little bit, and let me just get a screw piece to get my glue going here. So you could also use a sparkle pen. You could use stickles, although this is a pretty small like image stamp, like fine details. So I don't know if the stickles would be a bit tricky, but I'm gonna add some glue to the edge of my star. And I think I'm going to just be able to dip her in to the star on this case and do a little tap tap. Okay. So I added a bit of glitter to the star, and then I'm going to add some glitter onto the details of her tail. So I'm just going to do about 3 at a time. And this one I'm going to put the cap back on my quickie glue pen and just use the cap. Oh, wow. Okay. Totally missed putting that back in. Usually I'm not that terrible at it, but that's okay. Yes, I will definitely. I already was planning that, Kim, for sure. So we get that final shot. I did that last time, and then I know that some of the videos, for some reason, were not cooperating off YouTube. So I hope that it was nothing specifically I did. So when I upload it tonight, I'm hoping that you're able to get the clips of the video. All right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't do a very good job at tapping in this time. Usually I'm much better, but I also maybe not going quite as rushed, so it's okay. I'll try to get a little bit more in before I bring out the vacuum. So on your request, do we want any glitter anywhere else? Do we want any on the dolphin? Are we feeling any on the tail? I feel like maybe we need just a little bit on the edge of her tail here, of the fins that we keep talking about. I feel like that would be good. Man, I really am not usually quite this messy with the glitter, but that is okay. Glitter makes everything awesome. Okay, yeah, I hope this one works. I'm going to pay attention just to make sure there wasn't any weird video settings that I clicked. I mean, I just followed the instructions that you put in the group, so hopefully this one works. All right. It might make a little bit of noise for a quick second, but so I don't sort of leave a trail of glitter, I'm just going to try and vacuum up a little my glitter here. Yeah, my phone is an iPhone. It's an iPhone 14. So I feel like the quality should be okay. And I download the video from Facebook and then upload onto YouTube from my laptop. So hopefully it downloads as like an MP4, like just automatically. And on my laptop, it's a Mac. Plays through QuickTime. So I don't know what other people's are like. Okay. So yeah. So I do it from my computer, the actually uploading part. So if it doesn't work, I could always try to download it again. And maybe there's a different setting too. So we'll see how it goes. So keep me posted when you go to do that, Kim. All right. So we have got, I'm going to hold her up. We've got our little fin, and I'll just wiggle her around so we can see the little bits of the glitter. Oh, so sparkly. I like it. I'm not sure if I was going to add any highlights this time with the white gel pen. I think I might just add, because I just can't help myself, I'm just going to add a little bit of white. I'm actually going to use my 8 one on the dolphin and on maybe her hair a little bit and the bikini. So just gonna just do a little line, dash, dash, or dot. And line, dot. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna set that aside so the sparkles can dry. And let's build our card and rock and roll. So I'm gonna leave my 6x6 I'm gonna fold it, but then I'm gonna kind of unfold to build the card because I find that sometimes that is easier. What did I do with my bone folder? It's the one thing I did not get out. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so now you can kind of see our little mini Slim. And I'm just going to open it back up to make it easier to glue. And so now, I think I'm going to use my mono today. So we're going to glue our panel. And if there's anybody who joined late, just a quick refresh. This panel is just a little bit smaller than the front. It is 2 7/8 by 5 7/8. And I'm going to just center it onto my front so that there is an even border, very skinny border all the way around. I feel like I'm sending fins flying. Okay, then I had my die cut scalloped panel, which if you did just a rectangle, it's approximately 2.5 by 4.5. And I cut 3 extras just in craft. I picked craft in this case because then if you see it on the side, I felt it kind of went with the beachy vibes that you would see a little bit of the tan. So this is where we're just going to do a little bit of stacking. So I'm just going to add some glue. Just a little bit along here. We're going to line these up. And then I had already added, like I said, the one to the back here. So now I will add this one on. So then in total, I have 3 extra panels plus my top pattern. So for 4 total layers. And so just give that a squeeze, try to get that closed. So I got a nice sturdy piece now. And so I'm going to center that on my card from left to right. I got this weird thing on my glue today. But I'm going to go a little tiny bit up so it's not quite centered from top to bottom. So I'm just leaving a little bit more at the bottom. So centered left to right, a little closer to the top. So you can even start to really see, even on camera, kind of the shadow there because of now the depth of the extra layers. Got a little extra glue on there, but that'll be okay. Then I've got this piece, which is my pattern paper, and one extra layer. This one, I'm just going to center right on top. Like so. And because this was a nesting set, they do settle in nicely together. Okay. Now we'll start layering in thin. So I'm just going to play around a little bit because I had done a couple extra things when I did it here. When I was playing around with it, I was kind of like, should I put her lower? Kind of like it like that, I think, because I also have some little bubbles. So that's about where I'm going to put her. So I am just going to add glue. Got very quiet. I'm concentrating. I feel like people are concentrating. Gonna settle kind of her bum in on one of those scallops there. So I've just laid her flat because we've got a lot of depth already, and then I want to add a little depth to my sentiment. And I've off-centered it because I just find that that's kind of pleasing to the eye, and I like how things kind of come off the edge and gives it just a little extra appeal. So then I had initially wanted to do just a couple little scallops here, so I'm just going to maybe start with that and then do an even, and I just had these strips like from my stash, but you could easily print something on your computer. You could look through other stamp sets that you have, obviously, and create your own little strip from another one. But I liked how the fishy kisses rhymed with wishes. So once I found these, I quit looking through my stash of stamps. So I'm going to put it probably about there when I had planned it out. And then I will raise it up a bit. And then I'm just going to play around with where that's going to go. I think kind of there, maybe. Once I raise it up, it'll be okay. Just looking at it on the screen. Yeah, I definitely think I like that. And so I'm just going to, first off, get my foam dots here. And start with this one. Oh, I didn't do very good hiding that one, did I? Just kind of poke that in there. Do-do. There we go. nestle that again like that. And then I'm gonna just cut some little banner notches. A bunch of my friends and I were also having debates about how some are really good at cutting the little banner notches in things and some are not and fight with it all the time and don't like how they're never the same. I think I just don't worry enough about it. So I just cut a little piece in the middle and then I just go in from the corners. Pull those away. Thanks, Deb. Yeah, I kind of like how she comes off the edge there. Okay, so just double checking. Let me see if these are the right width. Don't mind my head. My head gets in the way. Yeah, I think we're good. Wasn't sure if I had to cut them in half, but I think if I line them up carefully. Oh, I want to be careful though, because we're overhanging the edge, aren't we? On that one spot, so don't need to go right to the edge. Now, we had one poll already today about whether we were team border or team no border. Are we team tons of foam squares or minimal foam squares? Because I definitely use as few as I can get away with. I definitely do not overuse my foam squares. Okay, I just got to pull it down a bit for a second, guys, so I can make sure I'm centered, because otherwise it's going to end up driving me crazy. Lift it up, make sure it's straight. There we go. Yes, I am. That is a way better way to say it, Kim. I am Team Frugal Pop Daughter. Oh. It gives me anxiety, which I shouldn't joke about because anxiety is a real thing. But if I'm doing demos in like real life, it gives me anxiety when people are just like throwing those foam dots like they're candy over everything. Like, this spot gets a foam dot, and this spot gets a foam dot, and everybody gets a foam dot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't need so many foam dots. It just makes me chuckle. Okay, so there we go. And I think the last thing, and you guys can help me decide if we like it, but I have these cute little bubbles, and I'm feeling like already, just seeing them, that I need to use some of these bubbles. What are we feeling, folks? Are we liking the little bubbles? I feel like we need those little bubbles. I know, they are expensive. And I try the rolls, and then I fight with the rolls because I don't like how my scissors really stick. And I find I then overuse more so than when I have the actual like foam squares. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Just need to get a baby wipe because I think my glossy accent is finally on its last leg. I've unclogged it so many times because it just always jams up that lately it's not jamming up. And then it's just this gooey mess every time I open it. Oh, it was really shaky. It's very weird not looking straight above to put something like these on. I don't think I've ever put them on a demo before. So I'm like, ooh. Okay. Oh my gosh, I love. Yeah, I've had this forever, Kim. And like I would just always use this pin to unstick it. And I just was a given that I just always have to unstick it. It's been like that for years. And then within the last, I would say like 3 weeks, something with the tip changed. I must have unclogged a big amount. And now, like I just always leave it like this. And every time I open the cap, it's just gloop everywhere, which it's still working, but I feel like maybe more air is getting in. So I'm always worried that now it's going to dry up. So I don't know. I might have to get, yeah, like a smaller bottle and end up filling them or something. I don't know. You can still buy glossy accents, right? It's not like a thing that's gone away. It's my favorite thing for putting on jewels. Okay. So, there is our Mermaid Friends holiday twist mashup with our lovely fin. Super cute. I'm just going to make sure it's sitting so we can see it. I'm going to leave it unfolded just because I think that that's better. Oh my gosh. Like, how freaking adorable is she? I could see me making a bunch of these cards for holidays. Like this turned out even like cuter than it, you know, did and wanted to in my head. Yeah, it was super cute. So there we go. Thank you for joining me, you guys. I hope that you're inspired to create. So just remember that you can find Mermaid Friends as well as other Throwback Thursday stamp sets on sale in the online shop. Earlier in the chat, Kim did link the set as well as another mermaid set, which is kind of fun. And if you guys create, make sure you share in the group, tag us on socials at Crafting Kimmy on Instagram and on Facebook. We'd love to see it. We want to see what you create. So I'll make sure that I take some good pictures and get these posted in some good light tomorrow. And again, I love that you guys came and hang. Oh my gosh, words are hard. I love that you came and hung out with me. If you're watching on replay, leave a note if you have any questions. You can just tag me so that I see them. And can't wait to see the rest of you soon. Have a good night, everyone. Happy heading into holidays.